Is that what I'm hearing you say?
That is commonly how we do it. There are some instances where we can make accommodations.
It really depends on the event. So as you're working on that event, we will more than willing to talk to you about that.
Yeah. Like we've got,
And that's true for any event.
yes. Yeah, no, we always, for any events, I do my very best to make sure they all happen and the network groups are able to make them happen. So it might be something like using a preferred vendor that will take a purchase order from us, from UCLA, and then they'll pay on our terms, but we'll still have the event. So we've got a couple different options that we can.
And do you have a list of preferred vendors that we can?
We do. We
Work from?
Depending on, again, we can talk there, let us know. Which network are you from?
Conejo Valley.
Okay. So we can let you know who's in your area.
Okay.
It's not so much preferred vendors, it's vendors that we already have in our system.
Okay.
Because if they're not in the system, it takes a little while to get them into the system. But we are UCLA, but our accounting systems are still catching up with the century. So that's when we can tell you who's in the area, but if you want to get somebody in, you've got enough time, we can get them into the list. It's just a matter of knowing who's there.
And Ritual said time is our biggest friend in that. So if you let me know a week ahead of your event that you don't have money to put up, but you want us to help, it limits the amount of help that I'm able to give. Where if you give me 4 to 6 weeks, there's a lot more possibilities and flexibility that we have within our systems.
Can I just make a comment that actually it's beneficial to try to go with a vendor that's in your purchase order system because they're familiar with the university and understand the process that it takes to get reimbursed and after the fact of the events that you have to come to the system. So, and
They know what they're for it.
they know that they're going to get their money because it's easy for it.
How do you guys determine a budget per event or?
That is based on the groups. So I know Christine, who does regional groups, will sit down and determine her budget for her different areas, and each department has the ability.
Well, maybe you can throw it out to the group, for those of you that have been doing some programs for a while, how do you determine what your budgets are? Any good advice you can give?
So that just for any time?
Yeah, and I know there's people that do this well in the room. So when you're putting together a budget, what kinds of things do you consider?
Well, see, for me, the primary cost is always the venue and then the food. And so one thing that I work at is like having a venue that you don't have to necessarily pay for. And then, we're trying to find a sponsor. So like an organization, either like a finance institution or something that's going to sponsor their event. And then if you're going to be generating any sort of revenue from it, aside from fundraising, major scholarships,
That's an important thing, right? If you're going to be generating revenue, particularly if you want to go to your scholarship, talk to us about that too, so we can make that easier for you too. And although we don't always feel that way, that is our goal, to make it easier.
Do you also have a list of UCLA alums who have restaurants that we can tap into?
We have some, but what I'd love to do, thank you for putting that out there, I'd love to have a list of UCLA-owned businesses. So that's something we've talked, we think we would have that, but we don't. So we do have some limited knowledge, particularly if we mention our foodies program. We've been pretty active about looking for alumni-owned restaurants, alumni-owned businesses. So we can tell you what we have, but it's not as, in all honesty, it's not as deep as you might think it would be, unfortunately, yet. So but you guys can help us do that. So we talk about that too.
Yeah, how far in advance also do you need information regarding, say that online event sites for an event? Payment.
How much time do you know?
We can actually turn around an event site pretty quickly.
Okay.
And then I have a curious, do you guys, it's not necessarily, do you guys loan out like iPads and stuff to do games in? Or is that something I'm just making up?
We will send staff to your event with iPads. So if you already have staff that are going, we'll definitely equip them with that.
And we've done that outside of California too.
I've shipped them as well, so that is, we do know how to do that.
Could you repeat the question?
whether or not we'll have, if you are working with your staff liaison here and are having someone from alumni come to your event, one of the staff people, they can bring in an iPad with them.
To collect revenue.
To collect revenue. And you can do that, we can set them up to be locked down to your giving site. If you've got just a sort of generic, general giving sites that you direct people to give scholarship money to, we have got, we're going to lock it down to the registration site, and we can make 2 registration sites. We can make one for day of, one for walk-ins, if you work with, and we'll set your site up, so you can have one for $20 and one for $35. I recommend you have both of those open if you do that, which if you talk to your staff person will know, because you're going to have somebody walk up just adamant that they talk to someone and they want that free walk-up price. So having that site available, it at least helps keep that person at bay if that's what we want to do. It's always nice to have that option.
Christina's worked with your registration.
I have. But that helps because if the sites, if you've seen them, they're set up for the price. We can also set up a swiper as well, which goes to one of our bank accounts. So the 2 websites will go to the foundation and they'll link to a fund, so either my fund or your scholarship fund, and the swiper will go to the bank account. So something to consider too is if you have a gift component. So if you're setting up an event registration, typically there's no premium, so there's no gift component. But if you have a scholarship, you want to direct them through your giving site, so they will be received.
Christina, have you said anything about foundation funds yet? Not yet. Are you going to do that? Yeah, I just want to, because I'm already kind of pulling in on our presentation. One of the myths that I've seen with networks around foundation funds, I just want to put it out there, is that we talked about this in Rose Bowl, is a couple of things. One, there's several different types of foundation accounts. You know, as a network, you can set up a foundation account that's called a current expenditure account. That's money that's yours to spend immediately. Okay? It's called current expenditure. You want to talk to us further, I'm more than glad to do that. And then the other piece in your endowed scholarship accounts, we went through this with Rose Bowl, that for whatever reason, one year didn't have a student that met the criteria, and so what we did is they didn't award the scholarship. We moved that back into the full endowment so they continue to earn more money on that. So there's a couple of things to think about as you're working with your foundation accounts. But one thing I want you to know for sure is that, because it makes it a little bit easier for you in terms of utilizing your funds pretty quickly, because you don't have a checking account, is to do the current expenditure account. That's money you have access to immediately that can serve as your operating budget. That was my foundation number.
And you're welcome to, once your event's over, if you've, for example, done swipers, I'll issue you, your network, a check, and then you can deposit that into your foundation accounts. Based on, you can split it however you want, you know, that's your decision to make. But just know that if you ever want to have an iPad on site, we'll do 20 questions with the staff liaison to make sure everything's going where it's supposed to go. But something to keep in mind is if you ever have someone use the swipe, the square, use it to the little square thing, that will never get received. That goes into my bank account. And
Not
the
a personal.
Sorry.
He's got quite a big one.
I'm just not putting my alumni hat bank account. So that is not something we don't receive. We are a 501c3 that we don't receive. We can always get those funds to your gift account, but alumni will then be the primary donor, and whoever's on the other side of that transaction, the person who's actually charged will get soft credit. So they will get that tax receipt that they're looking for. So if it's, you know, $5, $10 opportunity dollars, that might not be a big deal. But if for any reason it gets in the higher numbers, you've got silent auction items, you've got larger gifts being given.
Is anyone here in San Diego? Because you guys have done really good by silent auction. So that's.
So speaking of silent auctions, we're looking to do one in the fall, and it will be our first time. So I would be curious as to how many swipers we can get, and do we absorb the cost of the alumni staff to attend the event? How does that work?
You already paid for us, so we're not, we come because it's what we do.
Well,
But,
somebody has to pay the venue.
For the venue, but that should work under us with the staff or your staff person.
Okay, and then how many people can we get, if we're having 150, 200 people, one by pay for their silent auction items, so one person would be a huge bottleneck, so.
Well,
Is there a-
what we've done is we pretty much work with you by event, and, we'll work together to make sure you guys support us. And the one thing, the way that we work together, see now I've almost come up to the table, that's what yeah. But, one of the nice things about the way that we work now, sort of this new era, at least in this organization, is it's very much of a matrix organization. So, why we may be designated to do one thing, like today here, we've got staff that work in all areas of the organization, not only in the network. So even though you have one person that works with you, you actually have 54. So we just figure out what you need to make it work.
And then when I run out of resources, I also can go to external affairs, our larger group on campus, and get iPads. So it's not really a matter, I mean, whatever resources you need, I'm certain that
We figure it out.
them here. Yeah.
So if we have a banquet gala ticket for $200, we determine that 150 of it is tax deductible, and they pay with a credit card, and that's going into your account. How are we getting them the proof of their $150 tax deduction?
So if you set up an online giving site, have the information at events, or let people know something just as simple as a meeting, like, by the way, I'd love to thank you personally, but I don't get any information on who gives to my account, or can you let me know when you give so that I can help reconcile? That would be the way that people let me know, because I do know that that's very, I mean, I know for the university it's very important, it's about thank you, so I can only imagine how it is for you guys to do that. So we can talk about the best way to help.
So I'm very confused. A restaurant gives us a gift certificate for $100.
Yeah.
We put it on our list of items, and you want to send out this deed of gift to them as well. Is that correct?
So
Thanking them.
So what would happen is, before you even went to the restaurant and solicited from them, you would work with someone here and make sure you had something already worked out before you even went to ask for something.
Right.
And that would say, some of the key items that would be on there would be the foundation's tax number, because that's who they're actually giving to.
Mhm.
Right? Because you guys, most of you don't have a separate 501c3, so they're giving actually to the foundation. So, and you might collect any information that you want to get to help keep track of your records, but in addition to that, we will need this form filled out. So you would sort of go with a couple different items in hand for anyone who has a bill to return to.
And we fill that out, or they fill that out?
They fill this out. And if you need help actually going through and filling it out, let me know. The most important thing to walk away with is if you don't have something like a gift certificate and they give you, let's say, a basketball, then you have an itemized receipt for that. Because that's the only way we know what to think. And typically this in-kind gift is for some sort of item that we need to know about. So before you would actually go in to solicit to any business or restaurant, that's something you would want to have talked to your network leader for a couple weeks in advance.
And if it's like unsolicited, like our home bar gives us a gift card, right, do we need to tell them, we need to have you fill this out?
You can, like in that case, because what they're going to do is they're going to pay more.
Yeah.
What you can do is say, if you'd like a tax receipt for this, we really appreciate it, thank you, but I need you to fill this out.
Okay.
And then that's on that.
Oh.
And you're, I see you.
We have a restaurant where we have our game watching, and they've agreed to give us a 10% kickback. So how, he does have our tax ID. Is that all he has to do, or does, you know, he just sends us a check once a month?
You're a separate 501c3?
Okay.
And I can look that up. So
Yeah.
I can, my card's up here if anybody wants it. We can talk afterwards and make sure
Okay.
that's everything in your.
Yeah, I think we are. by the way,
Okay.
but-
Well, I can make sure
Yeah.
that's everything we're doing.
But if you're not a 501c3, what do you do?
You would ask them to make that check out to the UCLA Foundation, and it would go towards fund we have. So you have like a scholarship fund, and you'd say, ask them to write the memo that 5-digit.
If they want to give it directly to the Channel Islands Bruins, they shouldn't do that. It should go.
If you've got the right classification.
Then I think we do, because people do, yeah, okay.
If they just want to give to your group, they don't expect it, campus, to directly to us.
They can, I caution that if you take anything like that scenario that you say, you know, I need these things in order to
Oh, okay.
which is, you know, it helps too for us to track through the
I mean, it's
foundation.
usually a motivating factor for the people that are giving it to you, you know, businesses get right off.
Most businesses I find, whether or not they say it, they
They assume
assume
it, right?
they're getting a write-off. They might not give your information, they might just have their CPA deal with it later, but they assume that if they give you something, that they are getting a write-off, whether or not we say it.
Yeah, particularly because you're UC, they think of you as UCLA.
Right.
Okay.
Anything else?
Yeah, let me just,
Yeah.
I've never read any of this, and I just sent a text to somebody who's been for a long time, and to see if we are a 501c3, and she's the one who used it. So then that goes to this. So I walked into our local restaurant, and I said, oh, and I said, yes, we really be happy to give you money. And I said, you'll fill this out?
Yes.
And that's not kind of awesome to them.
I find that it's not. I find that most businesses understand that that's part of getting a tax receipt.
Is there any way to exclude that?
I mean,
I'm
you
looking
can,
at this, and I don't see much that I can fill in for them.
you can actually fill in the blank, so you can put the name of the business. If you already know you're going in to get a donation, you can always fill that restaurant name in for them. Of the address, I just, you know, you probably know the address. If you already know what they're giving, you can fill that in.
Do you need copies of this?
You can keep a copy for your records, but
But then, okay, I'm walking in.
Uh-huh.
Then how do I get it? I was able to have that.
you would send this to the foundation, and
Or
there's
send it to me when I get it, send it to your staff person. Your
Yeah.
staff person will get it to me.
and I think it's actually addressed to me. So there's instructions on here. So and then the foundation sends them a thank you.
The foundation is what?
Since the UCLA Foundation sends them the thank you.
Which is their tax credit.
Yeah. So we
So
use
that's what they need. That's what
Yes.
they need.
yes, but
This is
we
only the trigger.
yes we need this to send them.
Got it, now I got it.
Does that occur at year end or right after year end or as?
Oh, it occurs as it happens.
Huh?
Occurs as it happens.
As that?
Yeah. So if you were to today give me something that says, you know,
Here's
this
a
form,
copy.
we're on top of it. Because we believe that will have you give us more.
Okay.
Seriously, the quicker we try to be very fast, so.
What about taxes now? If we have our own tax ID, or we have to worry about, 990s?
If
Or
you
a
are
C6?
if you're a separate 501c3, you
No, just regular.
just regular. If you just have a TIN number, you fall under the foundation. You don't have to file anything. If you're a separate 501c3, you should be filling out a 990 postcard. If that scares you, please don't let it. Give me a call. It's called a postcard for a reason. Basically, it just says, are you still in business? Yes. Did you make over this amount of money? You say no, and then you mail it. So
Unless you make more.
it's 50,000. If you're making more than 50,000, good for you. But then I would also.
You're going to be leading a presentation next week.
And then also just sort of to be thinking about the setup of your organization, I would then say, how much of that money could we redirect to your current use fund here as a foundation. So that your organization as a separate 501c3 is only receiving $10,000, but your scholarship is giving the other 40. So that you don't have, you're still clients, you still have everything, and the intent is still there. You're probably going to give all that money to your scholarship anyway, hopefully. So that way, you don't have to deal with that extra thing. We'll take care of it.
And this deed gift is online after you get all the forms you got today?
And I can send electronic copies, and it is, I believe it's online, but I'll send out copies of all of this.
So, not to backtrack a bit, but you talked earlier about support for that's financial support from the foundation. Is that determined by expectation of the event, need for the group, like if who has more or less funds in their operating fund, is that determined?
That is determined by the individual departments. Do you speak to that, Jamie?
Yeah, I think it's, again, if you do it event by event basis, that's where whoever the staff person is that you're working on, you'll work very closely with that person. David, he'll go through, you'll talk about what the event is, what your needs are, what both of us are able to do, the organization as well as the university.
And there's a variety of factors. I mean, some networks are financially endowed better based on their history of having done fundraising over the years. Some of them are brand new, getting started. We want to, of course, sometimes help kind of kick things off. So it's all kind of case by case.
So I believe there used to be a process where if we wanted the Alumni Association to help us financially with events, we had to fill out a form or a proposal well in advance. Or is that not happening anymore?
You're talking about the network funding
Yeah.
applications. Yeah, we do that case by case now. So it's not. So it's no longer just January 1st through June 30. You can just assess. Talk with your with who's staffing you out.
And there's still a specific budget for that though, that we have amongst, or how does that work?
Again, it truly is, it's event by event. Because there are times, because we think of ourselves as larger than, because we are, we can pull from a variety of places. So it depends, event by event.
I mean, if we need to, we could even go beyond our network allocation budget and talk with young alumni.
Right. And how far in advance does that funding conversation need to happen?
I think the sooner you have it, the better, because that gives us time to maximize our resources too. But at the same time, realistically, we know you all are volunteers, and we don't always have the luxury of having 6 months in advance to pull something off. And some of you also do annual events. So that's why it's group by group, event by event, we work with you the best we can. But David said something pretty important too. It is because we think of ourselves as a matrix organization. We're always asking ourselves too, when we talk to you about an event, is there, whether or not you've asked us or not, is there another place in the organization that can provide you with some additional resources to help? So
There's even been times where we go to Anderson to have our own budget.
Yes.
Help out.
I don't mean to be evasive, but it's just truly, it is event by event.
Yeah, that makes sense. And it's a lot easier that because I know it was difficult for us to have to submit an event proposal 6 months in advance when we didn't even know what the event was going to look like. So this sounds a lot more user-friendly.
Well, I remember when I used to be a network leader, we'd end up going shoot, there was free money in the hills. Let's design something to go get our free money. That was almost kind of the mentality. So now it's much more, responsive to what
So are we still using those forms to submit the funding request? Or?
I would talk to Patricia about that.
So now it's done liaison?
If it's your leg up, I don't know that many people that still use those forms, so I can't speak to specifically what she does.
Oh, okay, so it determines them for
Yeah.
liaison.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I should. Yeah.
Well, we are almost out of time. I hope I have answered right. Please, you guys, my card is up here. If you have any questions, I'll be here if you guys want to read, ask anything. You've got my email. Anything you have a question about, any problem you're having with an event, anywhere you might need any sort of resources that I might be able to help with, please feel free to reach out to me and the liaison, and we will try to make it work. Our goal in my department, while it's finance, we've got lots of rules. We're here to help you guys put these events on